In the last video, we spoke about how in 3 years' time, nearly 80% of global commerce will be either directly or indirectly influenced to digital means, and why it will require a change in both mindset and metrics for business leaders and marketing teams to be aligned on the effectiveness of their marketing spends. To me, I think the mindset is a lot more important than metrics, and we will discuss as to why that is the reason. In the current digital world, as a customer traverses through her journey from awareness to consideration to purchase and eventually becoming a brand loyalist or advocate, she is exposed to a multitude of touch points, both physical as well as digital. The customer, though, may choose to engage or respond to some of these touch points, a number of them, and it is not necessarily likely to be linear. If anything, it is likely to be non-linear or unpredictable. So what it essentially means is that each shopping journey for the same customer is likely to be unique and is a combination and a culmination of multiple touch points that she is engaged along the way. However, historically, marketers have been used to looking at marketing effectiveness from the perspective of what I call as last touch point attribution. So what it essentially means is that if a customer has clicked on an email and from there visited the website and she's purchased a particular product, that sales is attributed to that email campaign. Or possibly if there has been a TV ad or a newspaper ad and next day there is an increase in store footfalls and sales, that growth is attributed to that particular newspaper or TV ad. However, it tends to ignore the impact of all the previous campaigns which have actually helped create the awareness and consideration for the customer. Now, this could have worked in previous times where the type of influence such triggers and campaigns were fairly spread out. However, in the current world where customers are inundated with a plethora of prompts, triggers, digital touch points, and with very little time gap, this particular method will not work. So there are a few factors that one needs to take into consideration while looking at marketing effectiveness attribution. So number one is the impact of each individual touch point. Number two is the impact of the sequence in which a customer engages with those various touch points. And number three is the time decay impact post a nudge or a prompt that the customer engages with. So impact of each individual touch point, let's talk of an example. Let's say you see an ad and decide to visit a store. The impact of you finding or not finding the range or availability to your liking is likely to be far higher than if you are visiting the company's website or e-commerce app from the confines of your home and then finding or not finding anything to your liking. The second one, which is the impact of sequence of touch points. So in a case where I receive an email from a company, I open that particular email and then I'm served a Facebook ad and then decide to visit the company's website, the probability of my conversion there is likely to be very different from if I were served a Facebook ad first and after some time I get an email, I open that particular email and from there I click on that particular link to approach the website. The third one is essentially about time decay or the impact of time decay. So, depending upon whether the ad is served 1 hour earlier, 1 day earlier, 1 week earlier, the impact of the ad and the mindshare of the customer obviously tends to weaken over a period of time. So for a good attribution modeling, all these three factors need to be considered. But these are essentially internal factors. These need to be overlaid with a few extraneous factors, which is one, what is the customer's context? Is she going on a vacation? Is she feeling rich or poor? Are her children actually going back to school? So what is that particular context? Number two is market events. Is there a festival or occasion around the corner? Is there a change of seasons? Is there some social event happening? Number three is competition and clutter. So is there a new competition? Is competition really aggressive about their own marketing spends? And hence there is a lot of clutter and marketing campaigns that are happening and you need to cut through that to get across to a customer. So these are various combinations based on which when a company does a marketing campaign, the outcomes will depend on a combination of these factors. So if I have made it sound a little complicated, the reason is, like I stated at the beginning of this particular video, it is more about mindset than about metrics. So leaders will need to understand that going forward, number one, trying to make an immediate sale or an impact out of a marketing campaign is going to be increasingly more challenging and possibly a lot more inefficient. Number two, given that customer mindshare is built over a period of time, constancy of purpose and value proposition is absolutely mandatory for customers to stay in touch with the brand and continue to be their fans. Number three, given the type of clutter and multitude of communications that is happening, new customer acquisition is going to be increasingly costly, and hence investments are best served in customer retention and advocacy. Number four, again the signal to noise ratio is going to continuously weaken, and that is why brands and leaders will need to take a leap of faith in investing in customer data and experience-led initiatives. In the next video, we will talk about metrics for each of those three blocks we spoke of, and how one can look at attributing the impact of a marketing campaign and measuring marketing effectiveness. I hope you found this useful. Please do follow